we're going to talk about today meal planning. So how we do it, what's been our own experience and with meal planning and what that looks like. And I'm sure you'll hear a whole spectrum of experiences because we all have a different way of approaching it. But yeah, let's dive in. How do you meal plan? Maybe we should start with that. Do you consider yourself a meal prepper?
Sometimes.
Same, sometimes.
Yeah. When it comes to meal prep, I feel like this term, like, do we actually have a real definition for it? Because I think my meal prep looks very different from Krista's meal prep and to yours, Ashley, and to the perfection you see on social media. My meal prep has never been the perfection you see on social media. How about you guys?
Oh, it will never be my reality, ever.
With a family of 6. Yeah, this is
Yes, we've got 6, and just like the schedule alone, it's funny. I feel like I go back to that. We all have the same 24 hours, and no. Like my weekend and Saturday, Sunday, trying to figure everything out is just insanity. Like there's no way. And then, coming into the school year, that just is even more amped up. So an actual meal prep is not going to be my reality. Now, planning, yes, and I think that's a core part of just helping your week, go in like not a stressful way. And so I will definitely spend time. I can spend 30 minutes planning out the week, knowing what all is on our schedule and figuring out what types of meals I need. Do they need to be 15-minute? Do they need to be in the crock pot? Do they need to be an instant? Like what needs to be happening so that I can get the meal on the table in 15, 20 minutes? So I'll have everything, planned out that way, and then make sure we have lunch options and breakfast options. And usually those are more prepped rather than dinner. I've got stuff in the freezer for breakfast or in the, ready to go for breakfast. And then I've got easy grab and goes for lunch. But for dinners especially, it's definitely just like plan is the bare minimum I can accomplish.
That honestly sounds pretty planned and prepped when you think about it. You have stuff kind of ready to go. I guess you kind of have to when you've got a family and you're doing your PhD too.
There's a lot of things happening, but it is true. Like I know that we're not going to, and you've got someone at your feet, asking for food at every hour of the day. So there has to be some plan to it. And I feel like you guys would have similar situations where you're going to need something kind of in a moment's notice. Make sure you have stuff on hand. But yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Danielle? What does it look like for you? Where are you at on the spectrum of meal planning?
Yeah. I would say in winter. So both myself and my husband, Brian, we like to cook. I'm so thankful that he likes to cook too. But I want to say in winter, we are more on the ball with planning things, and summer we're not as sharp because I feel like we're always out and about going on adventures, that kind of thing. But I'd say I'm somewhere kind of in the middle. Like I do have a menu board in my kitchen, but I haven't used it since the winter. When it comes to my kitchen, I always have some staples in my pantry or fridge. So whether that's like certain protein bars that I like, shout out Made with Local, who's Nova Scotian. We are not sponsored, but I love their bars. So those are good. Always have those. And I always have oats to make oatmeal, and I always have stuff to make smoothies. So quite often for breakfast, it's almost always going to be a smoothie or oatmeal. Just switch it back and forth because that's just my current hyperfixation. That's probably going to change in the winter. Right. But I always have something for breakfast. For supper, Brian and I usually like to just grab some proteins for the week, make sure we have some veggies, and we'll usually throw together like a salmon bowl, whether that's with rice or sweet potatoes, and then your whatever veggies you have on hand, whether that's frozen or fresh. But that's kind of like the general consensus, like some planning, not a whole lot of prepping. Occasionally, if I want to try a new recipe, then I'll be like, okay, this is going to be ready for my breakfast for the week or my lunch for the week. But that's maybe 25% of the time.
Right.
Yeah. What about you, Ashley?
I feel like mine varies a lot by the week. So some weeks I'll have really busy days where it's like you've got something scheduled I've had weeks where sometimes it's like 10 hours where I'm working a lot. And so on those days, I always try to, I always try to put an hour break lunch to make sure that I'm getting that full hour. I didn't used to do that, but it makes a huge difference to stop and actually sit down and eat something. But then I also do, during like busy time, I like to do overnight oats. So I'll do oats with soy milk and chia seed, just really try to bump up the protein with doing a full cup of soy milk and, 3 tablespoons of chia. So I like to do that. And a lot of times I notice we'll get in routines. So we'll like get in the routine of like making certain things over and over. We'll have like our cycle through things, and then we'll get tired of it, and then we'll go off to a new, like a new.
Yep.
But I think we both like cooking, so that definitely comes in handy that we both like doing that. So the days that I'm busy, he'll cook something, and then vice versa. If I'm doing something cookbook related, then we always have meals. We always have like 3 different things, but yeah, that's kind of how we do it.
That is so nice that you both have some extra hands in the kitchen. That's nice.
Yeah, it is nice. Yes, our most recent fixation has been my brother. When I was visiting him in Seattle, he made a really good pizza, like a really good with a cashew cheese topping, gluten-free crust, and I used his recipe because it was just the best gluten-free, dairy-free pizza I've had. So when I came home, I made the same thing. So we've been having it like almost every week since we got back, making our own little pizzas. So.
Oh, I want it.
So fun. Yeah, that sounds delicious.
Yeah, I'll have to send you a picture. It's actually pretty good. This last time we did, he was like, we need to add protein on here. So he put some crushed like tofu, like mixed with the cheese, and that was what we did.
Okay.
Maybe you don't like the tofu.
Well, I was thinking like, okay, maybe I can get on board with it if it's like that.
Until I said tofu, yes.
We could do like an edamame pesto type situation.
Ooh, that's a good one. I've also done, one time I pressed tofu and I made a tofu pepperoni, and it was pretty good.
Oh.
But it had a little spice to it, so.
Or like a tempeh bacon-ish kind of thing.
Believe it or not, I don't like tempeh. I feel like
Really?
tempeh tastes funny.
Yeah.
Have you tried tempeh, Danielle?
No.
I don't know. No. The texture is weird too. Yeah. Or it can be.
Yeah.
I think it's like the fermented taste that's a little weird to me.
Yeah. I feel like if it's a tempeh bacon, you're loading it with all kinds of flavors. That can help.
Mm-hmm. You know what I'm loving right now with tofu, though, is the shredded. Like, everyone's doing shredded tofu. Shredding it on your shredder and baking it to where it's, like, really crispy.
Yeah.
That's really good.
I feel like if I put enough sauce on it, then it's fine. But it definitely improves the texture, because I feel like I am a texture person because I never used to like oatmeal, but I got used to oatmeal. So I know I can do it with tofu. I just haven't tried that hard either. So...
I can see that. I don't love the texture of oatmeal either.
Yeah.
It's a little weird.
I don't, right.
Mm.
Yeah. What do you guys do for breakfast?
Me?
Usually. Yeah.
I always have some pancake version in the fridge and freezer, or waffle, something like that. And then we can, make that however we want to. Add nut butter, add, some non-dairy Greek yogurt, berries, whatever we can do with that. I'll usually do some sort of, for the kids, and maybe a little bit different, but I'll have some sort of like egg bake thing happening for them, and I might do, a tofu scramble that I can keep all week and just have some sourdough English muffins with it. Or I can make breakfast burritos and have those in the freezer. Those tend to be our go-tos. Or I'll do a protein blueberry muffin and have just double batch those and have those in the fridge and freezer to pull out whenever we need them.
A lot of options.
Yeah.
I have yes.
I guess you gotta, right? Like, everybody's got their preferences in a family.
Yeah, and mine really tend to like breads or muffins or pancakes, waffles. So I feel like I'm always playing around with those and making sure they've got a decent amount of protein in there to keep them full. And everyone's kind of waking up at different times. So I've always got something in the fridge that they could pull out if, at any time and have first, second, third breakfast, whatever.
Nice. Growing kids. Very active kids too, so.
Yeah. They're outside by 7 a.m. So I'm like, we've got to have stuff. And I don't want to be stuck. I still have a baby. He's moving into toddlerhood now, but grab and go is usually what we need. And sometimes I don't love overnight oats and chia pudding, but sometimes if like we have to, then I'll have those. But not many of mine will eat them. But I do like blended oat versions too that can be hot, and those are good.
Nice.
I've been on a smoothie kick lately, so that's been my favorite. But with Krista saying the pancakes, I'm like, oh yeah, I should make those. But something for me is that I am on a bean journey, if you will. So what I mean by that is I'm introducing beans because my guts can tolerate them. So this week I kind of did a breakfast scramble. So in that there was some eggs, maybe someday I'll put tofu in it. But then there was, of course, oh my gosh, what else did I put in it? Potatoes, spinach, onion, so it was just nice to get a lot more plants in there and beans and put a little bit of sriracha on top too. So that's been me lately.
Nice.
I love that stuff. And it freezes so well, or you can like manipulate it in ways that like we kind of reinvent it. My kids are like hate leftovers, and I'm like, sorry, you're gonna have to like figure that out because I'm not gonna cook every day. But I'm like, at least I can reinvent like an egg bake like that if they're gonna, and you could do something similar with like a chickpea based omelet or something, and reinvent things if you're not wanting to do eggs.
Yeah.
You're making me want to bring back the breakfast burritos though, Krista. That sounds great.
I love savory breakfast, and so I'm always wanting more of that. Yeah.
Me too. Yeah. Especially like, I don't know if you've seen those like gigantic tortillas. Like you can throw your stuff in there and then like set them on a skillet and get it like a crunchy outside. That's what I really want to do.
And the air fryer. Oh, you can put them straight from the freezer into the air fryer.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah.
So you freeze that. Okay.
You could. I mean, I usually will need to. I just double batch everything and make it. Whenever I'm going to be in the kitchen and prep, I got to maximize that time. So I'm just going to double it and then freeze, so we have stuff later. It goes so fast in my house.
Yeah. So you've got this down pat. Like you've got a whole system in place. It sounds like it.
I don't know about that.
From my perspective, you've got your furs and stuff that's ready to go. You've got 5 different breakfasts.
Well, and breakfast is like the way to my heart. It's my favorite meal. So that's the one I spend probably the most effort on. And then I'll be like, oh, shoot, we need lunch. What are we going to do for lunch?
Yeah. And when you're cooking for a lot of people, I feel like it can really happen fast where you get done cooking and cleaning and then it's like, oh, it's now at lunchtime.
Oh, every day. Especially in the summer where I'm like, I just cleaned up. We just got done and you're hungry. Okay. But today it was great. They have been asking they watch cooking videos all the time. And so they'll come up with all these different crazy ideas. And this week they wanted to make spring rolls. So we got all the ingredients for spring rolls. And I was like, cool, but you're making them. And so that we had everything out right before I hopped on here, and they made spring rolls today and they had a great time. They picked the herbs from the garden and they chopped everything up and made their own sauce and did the whole thing.
This is going to work out really well for you as they get older.
I hope so.
It's going to get spring rolls and all kinds of dishes.
Yeah. If you're following me on Instagram, my oldest one, she made a video today. She made a story on how to make spring rolls because she was so proud of herself.
Oh, I can't wait to see that.
So yeah.
So you said it's the key to your heart breakfast. So what's your ideal breakfast?
Definitely an omelet type of situation. Like it could be it could be the tofu scramble, it could be the chickpea omelet, it could have actual eggs. I love it all. And I want it to be veggie loaded and mushrooms and spinach. And I want to put salsa on top of it. And then I also want a really delicious sourdough English muffin with some of that smash jam, it's got the chia in there. And it's delicious, and that's what I want. And maybe I want some thick slices of beefsteak tomato with a little bit of flaky salt.
Oh, sounds great. Nice. What about you, Danielle? Are you a breakfast person, or do you like dinner or lunch?
I feel like I'm more of a supper and sweet treat girly, if you will. I quite often always have like sweet treats prepped in my fridge. So right now, and Brian's obsessed with them too, which is like kind of sad because he never used to be, and now they're just gone that much. I have like a is it peanut butter? Peanut butter, almond flour, chocolate chip kind of like protein bar. Yeah, so I like that for an afternoon snack.
Yum.
Yeah. Or for suppers, I just really like anything Mexican lately, like taco, anything Mexican inspired bowls. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not too picky, just with tofu.
You guys would love eating at my house then, both of you. Because Chris makes really good, like he's known in my family for his eggs. He makes really good potato and egg. So when we have people over, he does like really good potato. His dad's the same way. I guess he grew up eating potato and egg sort of thing. Mm-hmm. But then he does tomatoes and put tons of veggies on the side, avocado and stuff. That's like his go-to.
Yummy.
Yeah.
So yummy.
Now, one thing that I always like to give as a pro tip for people with meal prep as well is if you don't like it, pair it with something you do like. So what I mean by that is I never really used to like cooking, believe it or not. But I started listening to music while I cooked. So usually when you listen to music, you're happy, you're singing along, or at least I am. And when you pair that with something that you're kind of like about, it starts to be something you start to enjoy. So usually in my kitchen, I'm rocking out to Taylor Swift or Chappell Roan, or Brian will have the country music on. And it just makes it that much more fun and enjoyable, and more likely you're going to keep doing it. So
yeah, that's a great point
to focus on. But if one of our patients had a question about meal prep or wanted to be like, what do I do? What would be your first tip that you would say to them with meal prep and IBD?
I had somebody ask me about it recently, and I think I usually start by asking, where are you at with energy? Like, are you someone that's going to need some quick, ready to go in 5 minutes things? Are you like, where are you at on that spectrum? Do you want a little bit of everything? I ask that because, people have their limits, especially when you've got fatigue and IBD. So yeah, I always like to give people ideas for cooking, but also, even if they don't ask for it, some quick things for when things do not go as planned. Like I have this too. Like I have a stir fry rice that's in the freezer that I just buy, and then I pair that with like a tofu, and all you do is throw it in the microwave in a bowl, warm it up, and then cut the tofu and put it in. So it's one of those go-to meals when your life doesn't go as planned, because I think that's just often the case. But then especially when you add IBD into things, you got to have your go-to items. So
yeah,
I give that.
Yeah. Or go-to, even for me, like go-to appliances. I can pull a meal together in like 12 minutes with the air fryer. You know what I mean? And I use a couple of shortcuts, and we can all eat, and that makes such a difference whenever either stress is really high or fatigue is really high. Yeah, to have some stuff in your back pocket to be like, okay, I know I can pull this out and we'll all feel good about it.
Yeah, I think everybody has those days where you're like, maybe you drive home from work and then you're like, oh, I got home at 7 instead of 5. And there's stuff like that. I mean, so it's nice to have that.
Yeah.
Good question.
Yeah, those go-to meals are like essential to have in your freezer, fridge, pantry, wherever the heck.
I don't know about you guys, but if we have if I'm going to put to like a lot of effort toward a particular evening or meal, and there's leftovers, you know, sometimes I might even take out and portion some of those out into single serving portions to have and go ahead and freeze those into little like containers for the same purpose of like SOS meals that, and maybe that's a lunch that I haven't planned very well. But if I've got some of those in my back pocket too, that just takes some extra effort later that I don't have to give.
Yeah. To me, it also helps to think like if I feel overwhelmed with meals, then I try to think about, okay, like a formula. What's my protein?
Yeah.
What's my grain? Keep it very, very simple, and not overcomplicating it, because I think when you're already overwhelmed, you want to make it as simple as possible.
Yeah, for sure. Back to those meal components, like have some of that. I've always got microwavable rice, you know, in the pantry. And then I'll probably have a frozen sweet potato bag or something in the freezer, or edamame or something like easy. And then there's probably I've usually got some sort of like dressing or sauce. And I'm like, okay, great. That's a whole meal. And that's all if we need it.
Yeah, it's kind of like you can do a similar thing 10 different ways. And I think once you catch on to that, it makes mealtime easier. Like you can even just the sauces. I think we have a section in our cookbook that had like sauces where you can mix and match and stuff. I think we have that in our meal guide too in the with our modules. But it makes a big difference, and just adding a sauce like it adds a lot more intrigue or like interest with the meal, like a aioli sauce. And they're honestly really simple to make, like a tahini sauce, like tahini, lemon, and olive oil, or there's a cilantro sauce where you blend cilantro and like a non-dairy yogurt and lime. You know, they're easy sauces, but it levels up your meal a lot and makes mealtime pretty simple.
Yeah, and you can use the exact same bases and totally change the flavor profile. So you've got a whole new meal.
Yeah, good point. Well, I hope this was helpful for everybody. And let us know in the comments if you have anything you want to add or any questions that you have about what we just talked about today. And then make sure to like and subscribe. It helps us grow and it helps you get access to our videos sooner. So talk to you next time.